Hi everyone, welcome to Book Cravings. In this video, I will do my first in-depth review. I came up with an idea to organize this one and my future reviews. I think this method I will use here will help me to organize my thoughts about the books I want to review. Let's get it started. I watched The Golden Compass like many years ago. I didn't remember almost anything except the fact that I didn't enjoy the movie. At that time, many friends have told me to read the books, but I went like, oh no, I hate books with talking animals. And to me the movie was bad, so I wouldn't waste my time since I knew through these signs that there was no way I would like the series. All this happened about 10 years ago, so let's jump ahead to 2016. I got this very nice edition from Everyman's library of his Dark Materials, and it inspired me to give this trilogy a try. I also have read some nice good reviews on Goodreads, and I was like, let's give this book a try because it is gorgeous and you know you have a soft spot for pretty books. I also learned that Philip Pullman will release his Dark Material books in 2017. In short, I think the universe was telling me by signs that I should read his Dark Materials. So I put it on my 2017 TBR, and here we are. In this video, I will talk about The Golden Compass or Northern Lights. His Dark Materials is a fantasy series written by Philip Pullman. The first book was released in 1995. The other day I heard that this is a YA book, but I totally disagree. I wasn't able to identify a targeting audience actually, despite the fact that it could be considered a children's book, for it's a short, sort of coming of age story. It deals with some strong stuff. So to me this is a fantasy book with capital letter. At least this is what I can tell based on the first book I read, because I'm currently reading the second one. The first part of the video will be spoiler free, and in the second part I will talk about details of the story. So if you haven't read the book yet, don't worry, I will tell you when you should stop watching. In Northern Lights, I will call this way because this title is so much better than The Golden Compass. We have many important characters. I will talk a little bit about the characters, but not in depth. I will only introduce them. In Northern Lights, we follow Lyra Belacqua, the POV character. She is 12 years old and she has a companion, a demon, a kind of animal called Pantelimon or Pan. She lives at Jordan College in Oxford, and since she was a child she lives there under the guardianship of the college staff, and she has a friend called Roger Peslow. He and his family work at the Jordan College. Lord Asriel is another important character. He is Lyra's uncle, but they are like close relatives. Mrs. Calder or Marissa Calder, it's an agent of an organization called Magisterium. This organization is related to the church. Yorick Barneson is the rightful king of the Pensadorn, which are like armored bears. They have human level intelligence, and in the beginning of the story he is like exiled from his homeland because he committed a crime. Serafina Pekkala, it's another character. She is a witch who closely follows Lyra's travels. She knows Lyra has a special destiny. Her name is Kaisa, and it is a snow goose. Lee Scoresby is an aeronaut, he has a balloon, and Makosta is an Egyptian woman whose son Billy was kidnapped by the gobblers. And we also have John Fa, the king of all Egyptian people, and finally Father Koran, an elderly Egyptian who is like an advisor to John Fa. So these are the characters of this first book. Every human have a demon. They are like sentient animals. A human and his demon are like inseparable. They are a part of one human soul that exists outside the human body. When I watched the movie the first time, I think I didn't get it properly. But after reading this book, the only thing I can say is this is freaking brilliant. During the human's childhood, the demon is able to change into any shape he wishes. Once people reach like puberty, their demons settle into a permanent form. By the way, I find it is so courageous of the author name these beings as demons. I bet many schools prohibit these books because of it. People usually freak out for much less. This novel is set in a world dominated by an international theocracy called Magisterium, or the Church. Again, it's so provocative. I love it. But at least in this first book, there are just some mild parallels with Christianity, and the story takes place in a world that is quite similar to ours, but there is definitely a steampunk vibe going on and some Victorian elements. Spoiler alert, Lyra accidentally learns of the existence of dust. But what the hell is dust? In the end of the book, we finally learn that it is a strange element particle that is being researched by Lord Asriel. The Magisterium represses heresy and believes dust is related to the original sin, but dust is less attracted to children than to adults. So the Magisterium wants to prevent children from acquiring dust when they become adults. And this leads to the main threat in this story. The Magisterium, through a villain called Mrs. Calder, is kidnapping children and experimenting on them. They are doing the worst thing ever. They are separating children from their demons. Lyra's friend, Roger, is kidnapped by the Gobblers. Somehow, Lyra ends up leaving Oxford and becoming Mrs. Calder's apprentice. Before she leaves, the master of Jordan College, who has been raising her since she was a child, secretly gives her an alethiometer, like a golden compass, an instrument that uses dust to reveal any truth and can answer any question properly if properly manipulated. Lyra realizes soon that Mrs. Calder is not as she seems and runs away from her. And she ends up being saved by Egyptians, who are planning to rescue the kidnapped children. Lyra learns that Mrs. Calder is like the head of the Gobblers, or the General Oblation Board. From the Egyptians, Lyra also learns that Mrs. Calder is her mother, and Lord Asriel is her father, not her uncle. Taking Lyra along, the Egyptians mount an expedition to rescue the missing children, many of whom are Egyptian children. They will be aided by a clan of witches, the balloonist Liz Coresby, and the armored bear Yorick Barningson. Lyra wants to save Roger Preslow, her best friend, who she suspects has been taken by the Gobblers, and her uncle, because she thinks her mission is to bring Asriel her alethiometer, the golden compass. In the end, they save the kidnapped children, including Roger. Yorick, thanks to Lyra being able to convince the usurper king to fight him in open combat, became the king of the Panseptorn. So Lyra, Yorick and Roger carry on to find Lord Asriel, exiled to Svalbard due to Mrs. Calder's request, and they finally met him. The fact is, Lord Asriel has been developing a means of building a bridge to another world that can be seen in the sky through the northern lights. The bridge requires a vast amount of energy to split open the boundary between the two worlds. And in the very end, Lyra learns that this energy could be obtained by severing a child from its demon. While Lyra is sleeping, Asriel kidnaps Roger. She's too late to save her friend, and poor Roger dies. Asriel travels across the bridge to the new world in order to find the source of dust. Lyra and Pantaleon follow him, and that is how the book ends. At first I didn't care for Lyra, the protagonist and POV of the story, but she grew on me. At first I thought she was like just a brat, but she proved me wrong through her actions. I'm not sure she developed through the pages, but I definitely came to respect her a lot through her actions and choices. I did get to feel the fear the characters used to feel about being severed from the demons, and through the entire book I felt this. And there's a scene in which Pen and Lyra were almost severed. It was painful to read. In my opinion, everything in the story works really well. It's amazing how this book could go wrong, but it doesn't. In short, 5 stars. So, the story is fun to read and engaging, but what really jumps out of the pages is the amount of complexity Pullman was able to put into the book and the world building. Lyra has the world's parents, the judge is the antagonist, they kidnap children, they experiment on them, humans share their souls with demons. What we usually see in children's books is the opposite, especially regarding religion. Books such as Narnia, which I kinda like, usually praises religion and faith. Pullman does the opposite, and this takes courage. I don't know what will happen in the second book. I already started reading it, but I'm impressed by the audacity level of a book that may even have been written for children, but that delivers very complex ideas in a way unlike anything I have ever read. So this was the information I want to share with you about Northern Lights. It was also my first attempt on an in-depth review. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions about the way I reviewed this book, and of course about the book itself. I hope you enjoyed this video. See ya, and thanks for watching.